South Haven. Oxford's game.
Couldn't wait 10 more minutes.
I may supposed to be saying he's doing an interview with ESPNU, but
that's what he's doing.
The reality of it is he has two sons that are playing in a playoff baseball game tonight. So, what's he gonna do? Fire me?
Yeah. So Etheridge stops the bleed and gives you guys a great effort.
Arguably the most important and valuable guy in this game. A bunch of big hits, and we'll talk about those. But we can't win that game if we don't put up a bunch of zeros after they put up the 6th spot, and he did. He put up 5 or 6 zeros until they score one in the 9th there. But we can't do it without Etheridge. We have to get stops and zeros and got to hang a bunch of them, and he did that.
Well, what was your take on this environment today, that crowd, and this kind of game?
I've been here 4 years now, and it never gets old, and a lot of times, usually when you're at a place for a little while, it starts to become normal. This is not normal, and I hope people here understand that. I've been fortunate to be at a couple different places. This is not normal. This is a college football atmosphere in a college baseball stadium, and it's second to none. I know the people in the other dugout today would argue that, but I'll argue nose to nose with them.
Dillard's at bat will rightfully get remembered for what it was, but what did you think of Kessinger's a couple of batters earlier that kind of kept it going?
Well, it's huge, and the 2-3 run home runs are the ones that are going to get the headlines and everything like that. But you speak of Gray, who hasn't swung it great the last couple weeks, staying on some balls and getting some huge hits. One in the 2nd inning to extend it from a 3-1 game to a 4-1 game, and then that one late there before Thomas hits the home run. Gray's at bats were huge, and we had a bunch of big ones. Leading off that inning, Keenan and Rowe go back-to-back doubles to get the thing going, and then you could just feel the momentum, the crowd, everything else got behind it, and you knew it was going to be tough to stop.
It wasn't the best week for Thomas. What were you thinking when he was at the plate? Did you think he was about to come through like that?
Well, I'll tell you what, I got more and more confidence with each pitch because, if there's a hole in Thomas's swing, fastball's up with 2 strikes, he'll chase. And he threw 2 of them, and he laid off them. And as impressive as the swing and the home run were some of the pitches he laid off. I think he went 0-2 to start that at bat, battles it back to 3-2, makes the guy throw something over the plate and does what Thomas does. I know it was a tough week for him. I think he may have only had 2 hits. One of them still hasn't landed in Jackson, and the other one you saw today. So if you're only going to have 2 hits in a week, make them like that. So pretty impressive.
There's bases loaded, no outs. What did you think of the way Parker finished the game?
Yeah, I was proud of him. Closers at any level are going to go through some adversity. No one's going to run through it like he did at the beginning of the season or the beginning of his season when we put him in the closer role. You're going to get nicked up, whether it's here, in the big leagues, or wherever, and it's how you respond. And he's responded great. He's the same guy every single day. And it looked like, again, you're talking to a hitting guy, but looked like the velocity was up a tick, and he's really starting to come with a slider, which is huge because the scouting report's out on him now that he's got a really good fastball. You have to get to the fastball, but now he's starting to throw some sliders and threw some really good ones today, which gets those guys off the fastball and jams them up a little bit with the fastball.
What causes a drop in velocity for a guy at this time of season? Because it had dropped a little bit.
Sure. Well, I think it can be a couple different things. I think some of it can be workload. Some of it can be, he has thrown on some really chilly days, down at Mississippi State, out at Vanderbilt. It's in the 40s, at least it felt like. So, obviously the weather and warming up, you can get loose pretty easy. You work up a pretty good lather, and I think the velocity bounces back. And, so I think it's a combination of things, and some of it's confidence. Let's be honest, he was walking around with his chest out and his chin up for a few weeks in there, and then he got hit around a little bit and maybe lost a little confidence, but there's no reason he didn't get it back today, just coming in a sticky spot and getting through it.
Coach, how does this series go into the SEC tournament? How does that get you ready for the tournament and the NCAA tournament as well?
Well, we're not too close to the tournament yet. We got to go week by week, and we'll play Pine Bluff on Wednesday, and then we'll worry about getting on a plane and going to South Carolina. It's really hard in this league to think about the SEC tournament or the NCAA tournament because I know it sounds like coach speak, but it's so true in this league. I mean, it's just relentless, and so it's really hard for me to think about the SEC tournament or the NCAA tournament at this point.
Is Keenan as good offensively and defensively as any freshman you've seen?
Without a doubt. Coached at a bunch of different spots and had some really good players. I think all of you guys saw how hard it is to have success as a freshmen offensively a year ago, and we had a bunch of them. But here's a guy who has just been steady, and you could argue our most steady guy. Just comes to the ballpark every day and plays and tries to get better. And like you said, it's offensively and defensively. I thought we would fall off defensively from Bortles to whoever was going to play third base this year, and he's every bit as good as Colby. And I love Colby as much as anybody, but he's every bit as good with his hands, with his feet. Doesn't let the game speed up. Really proud of him and the effort he's given us and having dropping off and have the freshmen slump.